Hey, friends and neighbors. This is the old paratrooper here, Jerry Ross, man, and we're back with another edition of Tales from the Patrol Base. And we're really lucky today. We've got a man who had a very interesting career. Uh, his name is Terry McIntosh, and he started out in a LRP company in Germany in the 1960s. Then he wound up going to Vietnam, 5th Special Forces Group. And then he wrapped it up with Alpha Company, 75th Infantry LRP at Fort Benning and then Fort Hood. And he's got an interesting story. He's got a book out. It's called The Youngest Green Beret because he was actually the youngest Green Beret at one point. And he's also got another book coming out, in which I will talk about that a little bit later. Hey, Terry, really glad to have you here, man. Really glad. Uh,
Great, thanks. Yeah, glad to be here. But from what I know about you so far, I should be the one interviewing you.
nah, dude. You guys are your books and your stuff and your experience is what built me. You guys, I was very lucky to be mentored by some Vietnam veterans, man, and some guys from the Ranger Special Forces community. So, if you can, Terry, can you kind of give us your backstory? How you started, where you came from, and how you wound up in the Army.
Well, sure. Yeah. Of course, it was a long time ago when I got started. I was born in
Yeah.
1950. But um, when I was 17 years old, I enlisted in the Army. Of course, that was in 1967. Of course, Vietnam was a hot item back then, and I was kind of uh, well, I wouldn't say shiftless, but I was just a young teenager who didn't really know what he wanted out of life at that time. I had quit school at 16 and I had moved out of a good, stable Christian home because I just, wanted to be on my own and find some adventures out there. So when I had turned 17, a friend of mine suggested, well, let's just join the Army. And I considered that, and well, yeah, there's a war going on. American boys are being killed, and I had a real sense of patriotic duty. So I thought, yeah, that'd be the thing to do. But of course, being 17, my mother had to sign for me to give her consent for me to join the Army. And so once I was enlisted, I volunteered for airborne jump school. I had always, I guess, wanted to fly. When I was a little boy, I used to go out and get on the fence post and jump off, pretending
That's
I'm
good
in
stuff.
flight for that 1.5 seconds before I hit the ground, but it was exhilarating and I always wanted to fly. And I didn't have the qualifications or education at that time, to apply for anything actually flying airplanes or anything. So I thought, well, I'll just jump out of them. That's the next best thing. So,
Fair enough. I don't like
yeah,
landing. It's
yeah,
it's just easier just to leave.
it is. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, I completed jump school. And from there, I was assigned to an infantry unit, airborne infantry unit in Frankfurt, Germany. That was Company D, 17th Infantry Long Range Patrol. Now, just for the record, that's the forerunner of Company A, 75th Rangers.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah. And so, like, I'm almost like a grandfather to a lot of people here today.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I was there almost in the beginning of these things. But I was assigned to the LRP unit in Germany, and where I underwent several months of extensive training in LRP and all that consists of. And I had earned two military skills, previously, but a third one I earned there, which was communications. So I
Mhm.
was operating by the time I turned 18, I was functioning in three different MOSs. And I guess in retrospect, highly skilled at that time
Yeah.
for my age, especially. And it wasn't anything I thought special about it. It's just what you do, you know.
Yeah, you're 18 years old. It's like, I'm going to do what Sergeant tells me to do.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I had voluntarily surrendered my sovereignty for the next few years,
Yeah.
and so I was up to that, you know. So I did want to be a good soldier. So yeah.
That was pretty early in the Vietnam War. Were there very many Vietnam vets in that unit at that time, or was it
No,
mostly?
no, 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 there wasn't. But we were being levied for Vietnam out of the unit.
Hmm.
And the training we were doing in Germany, well, of course, you know, one of our primary goals was to be there in defense of Germany
Hmm.
in the event of, you know, an invasion of any kind. And
Hmm.
it's really not that too far out of World War II. You know, I
No.
mean, you're talking 20 years, and it's the Cold War, and so that was our primary objective. But in the course of that, you know, we're learning how to work behind the enemy lines and survive, and all of the things that are involved with it. The difference is that it gets very, very cold in Germany. And
Yes, it
yeah,
does.
yeah, lots of snow and very, very much cold. So the terrain would be much different than Vietnam,
Hmm.
but we were actually being prepared for Vietnam service at the same time.
I think in your book you mentioned you went to German jump school, or was it a jump exchange with the Germans, or?
Yeah, yeah, we jumped with the German army.
Yeah.
I did earn the German jump wings there, and that qualified me in two countries. And eventually, I would make training jumps in Vietnam, which would
Hmm.
qualify me for
Yeah.
jump wings there. So I've ended up with jump wings in three countries.
That's a good deal.
Yeah,
Uh, so I mean, they were so basically the unit kind of like, hey man, these guys are probably going to Vietnam at some point in this career. Yeah.
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 And well, most of us wanted to go. I mean, that's why we were in the army. And
Hmm.
I don't remember exactly the number of our unit there, but you know, not more than 50 of us.
Well, yeah, that's
Anyway,
not a big unit.
no, no, we were small, and most of us were very young.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, if you were 25, you were an old man.
Yeah. When you came to Germany, and did they arbitrarily assign you to that unit, or did you have to interview or anything
No,
like
no, that was my first orders right out of jump school. I didn't
that?
have a, I didn't, I, they did not ask me for any input.
No, okay. They just said,
Yeah.
go here, do this.
Yes,
Ah,
that's right. Yeah. And at 17, you know, officially, you know, I was too young to be in Vietnam.
yeah.
Uh, I understand there have been some soldiers younger, but they had falsified their ages, you know, to
Hmm.
be able to do that. But I wasn't officially old enough to be assigned to Vietnam.
Yeah.
So
Okay. And,
there I
and
went to Germany.
yeah, what was it like as far as like I guess your training tempo was pretty good. Did y'all get any off time, or did you get to hang out with the Germans very much and drink some beer? Or?
Well, well, off duty, you know, and weekends, if we weren't out, you know, bivouac somewhere, yeah, we had
Yeah.
chances to party down, you know, and we were, like I said, we were young, most of us,
Mhm.
and full of ourselves and just learning things about the world. So, you know, we had a lot of fun being turned loose on the weekends or other times that we could get out. But we spent a lot of time in the field mostly.
Yeah. Lot, yeah. Well, if you're in the field, you can't get into, as one of my old first sergeants used to say, shenanigans. So
Yeah, that's true.
a soldier that's got a rucksack on his back is not going to get in trouble with a bullseye. So,
That's true.
uh,
Yeah.
so you're there in Germany. You're training in this LRP company. You were an infantryman. You were also doing the commo portion. So you basically got to carry the radio, and
Yes, I did.
yeah, and get spun up on that. You said you had another MOS. What was the other MOS?
I was 11 Bravo, light weapons, you know,
Hmm.
infantryman. Then 11 Charlie, which was mortar.
Okay.
Yeah,
The last
and
the last I was a platoon sergeant of like three different platoons. The last thing I did was airborne infantry mortar platoon sergeant, but which is a lot of fun. I liked mortars. I
Yeah.
just didn't do it very much. Um, so you're there in Germany, hanging out, living life, training, doing the barrel chested freedom fighter stuff. And Vietnam's coming up. How did you get assigned to Vietnam? Did you volunteer, or was it more like, Terry, time to go to Nam?
Well, of course, being a soldier, I
Yeah.
wanted to go to Vietnam, right? That's
Yep.
what we trained for. That's what a soldier does. So naturally, yes, I wanted to go to Vietnam and do
Mhm.
whatever, my part would be.
Yeah.
I didn't have any specific parameters about that. I just assumed that I would be assigned to an airborne unit, maybe the 173rd, the 101st, or something. It was just an assumption on my part.
Yeah.
But I did volunteer for Vietnam, and orders came down for Vietnam with an assignment to Special Forces, the Fifth Group. And no one was more shocked or surprised by that than me, because it had not even entered my mind, to serve with the Green Berets. And it was intimidating somewhat
Yeah.
because of my age. The average age of a Special Forces soldier in Vietnam was like 30 to 35, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
They're
so here
old,
I am.
experienced guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. And here I am, 18,
Uh,
which, but I'm qualified,
yeah.
more qualified than I realized at the time in
Yeah.
retrospect.
Did you go from Germany to Vietnam, or did you come back to the States for a little leave or anything?
I came back home. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a long leave, actually, 55 days
Mm.
before reporting in. So yeah, I came home for that, and then over to Nam.
Well, I assume you came hung out with your family. I'm sure that was
Yeah,
tense.
yeah. Well,
Because in my own personal experience between some of my trips, it was they're like, oh, you're going to somewhere, like, okay, yeah, so
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of tense. It was almost a relief to get on the plane and go somewhere. But so yeah, you were flying, we're on our way to Vietnam. Can you kind of just walk us through how that all happened? Eh.
Um, yeah. As far as arriving to
Well,
Vietnam,
the arriving and getting assigned up to fifth group.
well, the assignment just came down when I was in Germany there.
Hmm.
When I was assigned to Nam, I was assigned to Fifth Group.
Hmm.
And so there was nothing else said about it or expressed to me about it. It's just, it's my orders, to show
Hmm.
up and report in. So that's what I did. And of course, I stepped off the airplane with a number of other soldiers in Cam Ranh Bay,
Hmm.
if you might be familiar with that
Oh,
that city, but which is a large Army post, Air Force. I mean, a lot of things over
Navy
Cam Ranh.
base and everything.
Yeah,
That was a big
yeah,
place.
it was. Yeah, yeah. And from there, we spent a few days just filling sandbags and things like that. And I guess
Joy.
adjusting
Yeah.
to the climate.
Yeah.
Yeah, they issued us our booty hats and our OD greens that we were going to be wearing, and after I don't remember now, a week or 10 days there or so, then I was farmed out to Nha Trang, which is the
Hmm.
headquarters of the Fifth Group.
Hmm.
And when I reported in there, I remember my first night real well, Jerry.
Please, yeah.
There was I had reported in, it was kind of late. So they gave me a place to sleep right off the
Hmm.
bat, of course. And I was the only one in that building.
Yeah, that's
Or
kind of like
in that
that's kind of intimidating. You're the only one there. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
But
had any real, I haven't had an official welcome or anything yet. It's just here
nobody
you
to
are here.
interact with. You're just kind of
Not,
there.
yeah, that's what happened. It was just initially, okay, hey, here you are. Now we'll see you in the morning.
Here's the bunk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I go and lay down on that bunk and I fall asleep. And then suddenly in the middle of the night or somewhere or other, there's a boom, outgoing rocket part.
Yeah.
And boy, it was like it filled the room up. It was just like it was
Mhm.
right there in front of me. And every nerve and cell in my body just reacted to that. I'm up, I'm setting up. And of course I'm used to, training and small arms fire and things like that. But this was like consuming everything. It just sucked the air out of the room.
Felt
And
pretty close to the firing battery.
yeah,
Yeah.
really. And so anyway, I'm like, oh, okay. So I lay back down and he does it again. Well, they fired off several rounds, and I was up a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, but eventually I fell asleep, and everything turned out well on that. And the next morning, I was officially welcomed, and all the, the paperwork and everything was taken care of. And I was issued a full flash Green Beret,
Yeah.
which at that time was represented
Being fully SF qualified. They didn't have the tag.
yeah, it represented that. Special Forces had attached people that worked in various positions, especially in the clerical and things like that. And they were authorized to wear the beret, but I understand they were not a full flash.
Yeah, they had the candy stripe. I remember
Yeah,
I showed
yeah,
at Bragg, they had like what they call candy stripers.
yes, yeah,
It'd be like
right.
like it was just a little, like the seventh group guys had like a little red bar, and you'd see them and like, oh, that's a support guy
Yeah,
there.
right. They are attached to Special Forces, but they aren't a member of Special
Yeah, they
Forces.
haven't been to the Q course,
Yeah,
or
and
they're waiting to go to the Q course or something.
I salute them though for everything they've done. But
Mhm.
they issued me the full flash Green Beret. I have not been through the training course. I haven't qualified anything, except for my LRP training and all. And they said, "Well, you're a Green Beret." And I said, "Okay." Well,
Okay.
over the next 30 days, I did have uh, training SF style,
Mhm.
along with every other new man who came into the unit. Special Forces qualified or not, we all
Yeah.
went through a certain 2 week
A
orientation
refresher.
course. Yeah, refresher orientation, and
Yeah.
going out on a combat mission, getting you induced. Well, after that finished, they kept me over for a short um, SF radio introduction, to
Yeah.
get me, and I had to refresh my Morse code and things like that. I didn't like
Yeah.
that stuff, you
Yeah,
know.
you did Morse code. Did dot dot.
Oh, did I did it did it did it did it yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't even use that anymore, do they? Or not?
When in 2000, I know in the 90s they were using it because there was a friend of mine from Scout Platoon who he was waiting. He had his Walkman. He was always like listening to it.
Uh,
And then when I went back to Bragg in like 2003, four, they had dropped Morse code from the Special Forces Communication NCO course.
okay.
And they think you were building a computer, or they were doing a bunch. They were experimenting,
Um,
but they had taken Morse code out of it, out of the POI. So,
well, that tells you how old I am, don't
well, yeah.
it? Yeah.
But well, so were the older were the older SF guys, were they pretty? Were they? In my experience, the SF guys were a pretty welcoming bunch.
Yeah.
Like yeah, you weren't getting any
Yeah.
headache because you were a young guy. They might rib you a little bit. You know.
There was none of that. Nobody ribbed me about it. Nobody even mentioned it. It was just like, okay, you're here. You got a job to do. You do it. And that's what I did. I just rolled with it. I was treated equally by everyone. All through my entire 12 months, I never once encountered anyone concerned about my age. And, and in retrospect, of course, I realized that's because I did do the job. Now, if I hadn't been doing the job, that would have been a different issue. I'm sure.
I can
Uh,
only imagine.
yeah, that would have been tough. But and I wanted to do a good job because I was aware of my young age,
Mhm.
and I felt intimidated. So maybe that, caused me to be a little bit more attentive to my duties and things.
Like,
But
well, I mean, you were a motivated young paratrooper. Everybody loves a
well,
motivated paratrooper.
that's one way to put it. That's right. And from the training, I was dispatched to Canton, a large military base consisting of different branches of the service, and uh, where the Special Forces C team was at. And I took up my duties there as a radio operator, which was involved receiving and the intel reports, the daily reports from the A teams and B teams, and
And
getting
just
back.
for, hey, Terry, real quick for our viewers who are not aware, a C team in Vietnam era is a battalion now in modern era.
Okay, yeah.
Because that term's kind of faded out, but I think B team, I still hear B team, but I don't ever hear C team. But
Well, yeah, that's the A team is the backbone of
yep, the
Special
ODA.
Forces, really.
Yep.
But the B team, supports the A team,
Yep, company
and
level and C team
right,
is out. Yep.
and the C team is, that's just the way it works. But so I started out there
Mm.
at the C team in Canton, with the Morse code, uh, receiving the reports and breaking them down and then getting them up to the right people. And that was kind of boring. I mean, it's interesting, to get the reports and read them and things like that. But the job itself to me was a little bit boring. And after a while, I was getting kind of tired of it. But I was only there 2 months,
Yeah.
and yeah, they sent me on out to Mokwa, which is B-41.
Okay, you're
Which
getting
is,
closer to the 80 team.
yeah, it's coming up, yeah.
Yeah.
But when I got to the B team, I felt comfortable about going to the B team because I knew I would be doing what I was already doing, but I wanted to change of scenery. So,
Yeah.
I embraced that. I said, okay, great, let's go to the B team. Of
Yeah.
course, well, my opinion didn't matter anyway.
Your
I was
opinion.
under orders to go, but I was in agreement with it. And
Were you still a PFC at this time, or had you got promoted to
no, no,
E4?
I was promoted to E4 in Germany.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was really a rapid rise to
Hmm.
E4. Yeah, in Germany. So
Okay.
yeah, so I'm operating as an E4 right now,
Yeah.
specialist E4.
Uh,
Yeah, and then when I got to Makwa, it was the same duty, receiving
uh,
the reports directly from the A teams and getting those reports into the command center there, and the B team was really where I had my first real experience with the Vietnamese people.
uh,
Because after a couple of months of being there inside the commo shack, which was air conditioned, it was a coveted place to be in Vietnam, in air conditioning.
yeah. Yeah. But probably very
And
small and very claustrophobic after a certain while.
yeah, but after a little while, just like I did in Canton, I began to get kind of restless with it, doing the
Mhm.
same thing daily. And, the days consisted of working in the commo shack, doing guard duty at night, which was very often. We all shared that responsibility, no matter what section you worked in. And then back to the commo shack. Well, after a while, that just begins to get a little, hey, I'd like to be doing something else too. So I had
Yeah,
a chance to get out.
you're
There was I'm sorry, go ahead.
you're 18 years old, man. You're wanting to
Yeah,
be in
yeah,
it.
yeah. I'm
Yeah,
at this point, I'm confined to a small communications room,
yeah.
and that's it. It's there to lunch or dinner and to guard duty, grab a few hours sleep and back to the building again. So after
Yeah.
a couple of months, yeah, okay. But um, Sergeant Chico Fernandez, his name was Margarito Fernandez, who was later killed in action. But at the time, he was commanding the airboat patrol unit out of
Uh,
Mokwa.
okay, so you
And
were down
he,
in the Mekong Delta, down at
yeah,
there.
in the Mekong Delta, Fort
Okay.
Corum, Mekong Delta. Yes, sir. Yeah. And I'm not sure Mokwa setting from the border of Cambodia, I'm gonna say I don't know, 30 miles, 25 or 30 miles maybe, through rough terrain. You
Yeah.
know, you
Swamp.
take a boat or a chopper to get out there, but yeah. But airboat patrols on the river canals and all of that, was conducted daily all the time.
Hmm.
And Chico needed a volunteer. And so, hey, this was my chance, to get out of the Commo office. So I volunteered to work with Chico. And fortunately, he accepted me and I was able to get out on the boats with him. And it made my life a little harder, but I liked it. It was,
Yeah.
I couldn't, I had to do both jobs. I couldn't just choose one. I had to do my commo duty. So I
You
did
ain't
my
getting out of
commo.
that.
No. But so because I'm volunteering for the RPU patrols, then my commo duty is at night. Now, so in the daytime, I'm running airboat patrols with Chico, coming in, going to the commo shack, pulling my duty. There's three of us that rotated at the
Yeah.
commo shack, and I had to pull my night duty.
Yeah.
And from there, sometimes after that, sometimes guard duty as well early. And
Hmm.
then I would manage to grab 4 or 5 hours sleep a night between all of that before I'm back out again. But I appreciated the activity. I didn't
Yeah.
feel stagnated. And it gave me a chance to see the Vietnamese people and to,
Hmm.
interact with them. Our job on the boats, of course, were to um, well, it was multifaceted. There were a lot of criminals, not just Viet Cong, running weapons and things. There were a lot of criminals in the area too, who would impose taxes on civilians and things like that. So our job, of course, was to run interference with those things and to pull over and inspect any suspicious boats or anything like that. And so it was a high intensity uh, position and very dangerous, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. There's not a
Yeah.
lot of cover and concealment on a boat.
Well, we didn't have any cover, and I don't know, how fast the backup could have gotten there,
Uh,
But let me share one thing with you, Jerry, because it really invested me at this time. I'm just going through the motion of things as they came to me, pretty much. And
uh,
now I'm out here, and but I'm still not really invested personally in the war.
uh,
It's just a soldier's duty. But we pulled over this one boat, and there was the father of his wife, their daughter, a young woman. She was about my age, maybe a couple of years older,
uh,
and she had a small child with her,
yeah.
couple of years old. And Chico boarded the boat, and I'm standing at the helm, with my M16 post, because if anything happens, I can't take my eyes off of what's going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the young lady, uh, she was sitting with her head down, bowed
Yeah.
down, and I looked at her and just paused on her briefly, and she sensed, I guess, that I was looking at her.
Hmm.
And she raised her head slowly and looked at me, and our eyes connected.
Yeah.
And something happened in that moment. Something just really connected. I felt so uh, well. I felt a lot of compassion.
Hmm.
Of course, I didn't know the lady. I'm assuming a lot, but it's how I felt at the moment. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, she doesn't want this war. She just wants to raise her son in peace,
Yeah.
And here we are invading their privacy and doing all this to them, as things happen in war. But that somehow affected me mentally and emotionally.
Hmm.
And I raised my rifle up, just the tip of it away from her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she nodded her head, so
Yeah.
it
See,
worked out well.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that I felt invested. I felt like, there's a lot of good people here. They're just wanting to live in freedom and there's a lot of atrocities going on, and it made me mad. It made me mad at the Viet Cong for
Yeah.
the things that they are doing. And so from that point on, I wanted to engage the enemy.
Nobody likes a bully, and
Nope. No.
that's a fact. Pisses
Yeah.
me off when I see one right now.
Yeah. 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 You're still going to push back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're out there, so you're doing commo stuff, you're riding the boats, you're going on patrol. Uh the sound like Chico was kind of a mentor. And I mean, so what's next, man? There's
The next thing is that I'm in the commo shack with some time off. I was just in there talking to one of the guys, and orderly came busting through the door, and he said, "Look, there's a element of VC out here, and they're getting some guys ready to go out, and we need a radio operator." Well, okay, this is what I trained for. Right.
Terry's been raising his hand the whole time. So
yeah, I trained for this. Okay, this is my chance to actually do it. So yeah, I didn't know at the time. I didn't know him personally. He was a lieutenant. William Aldridge is his name, who, by the way, retired as a full colonel eventually, and he's a member of the OCS Hall of Fame.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, at the time, he was a lieutenant. He was in charge of the ground operation. Wesley Hairline, some SF guys from them, they'll know who he is. And he was in charge of the overhead air support. But so we lowered the choppers and headed out in direction of where the VC had been spotted. Coming in, we took rounds flying in. I don't remember too much about that. Some of my memory about going in and actually leaving is nearly blank.
Yeah.
And Bill Aldridge, he filled in some of those blanks for me to tell me, what I didn't remember. But we did come under fire going in. And to make a long story short, we made contact with the enemy. They withdrew. We didn't take any casualties. They did. One man was killed initially. They withdrew. We chased them. It was a long, long day. We encountered them for a second firefight. They withdrew again, and we pursued them again, and that was the final encounter. And so with us on the ground and overhead support, there were 10 enemy killed that day. We took a total of 7 prisoners altogether. And yeah, so I had earned my combat infantryman badge.
Yes, sir.
It was a long, hard day and 3 firefights in one day. It was quite the introduction to combat.
Yes.
And yeah, so there's a sense of, I felt a sense of pride, in having earned that, because that's a coveted award for a soldier who he trains to do it. But at the same time, I was sad about it because it was really my first confrontation with seeing dead people. I mean, there's a family who's passed away. I mean, killed in the act of war.
Violent death. It's first experience of violent death.
Yes, and I felt a great sadness over it. I felt sympathy for them and the families that they belonged with and things of that nature.
But you're a human being.
Yeah,
yeah.
I would worry about a soldier that didn't have feelings. I mean, But other than that, like I said, I was pleased with my own conduct, and I was praised for it, and orders for the CIB was submitted and awarded by Special Forces. So that was my introduction to actual combat. And then I'm back in the commo room. The next morning, I'm out jumping out of helicopters. The very next morning, it was like, okay, hey, that was yesterday.
That's today's a new day, brother.
It's that's gone. Forget. And that was my attitude. Don't think about it. I've got an opportunity here to go and jump out of these choppers and earn some Vietnamese wings.
Yeah.
So they're just in different categories, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah. And then, of course, later I thought more about it again too, and I decided that, well, okay, I trained for this, I did it. I'm satisfied. I don't want any more of it. I'm just going to stay right here in the comfort of this cool, nice, safe combo shack. Oh, it wasn't completely safe because we
Yeah.
got bombed and
Yeah.
shrapnel hit the door. But in comparison, it was a good place to be. You know,
Yeah.
so I thought I'm just going to stay here. I'm not going to volunteer for anything.
No.
Yeah, but
But
that didn't
fate did
last.
not feel that way. Fate
No, no.
is the fickle finger of fate.
Yeah, it was really, it wasn't my doing. I don't know exactly what went on out at the A team to make this happen, but the radio combo chief that they had was being returned to Makwa, and they needed someone to fill his slot on the A team. And they told me I was going.
Yeah.
My combo chief in Makwa told me that I was going out to the A team. And I said, whoa, whoa, wait a minute. Because that did intimidate me. It really did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at least in my mind, the A team was, wow, this is where it's going to happen. Every man's got to be pulling his own share. There's no slack out there.
You
It's
wonder
a
again,
big,
you're wondering about yourself. You're
yes,
wondering. Yeah.
I was. I
Yeah.
was questioning, am I able to do this? I haven't gone through special forces training courses, I know communications, I know how to fire weapons, and I can do all that kind of stuff, but still, this seems like such a major assignment to me
Yeah.
at 18. And well, I just turned 19. I
Hmm.
just turned 19, and I was intimidated by it.
Yeah.
And I did request, can you
Hmm.
find somebody else? I don't want to go. And they said, no, you're the only qualified man that we have.
Yeah.
That was the end of the story.
Yeah.
Packed a duffel bag, got on a chopper, flew out to the A team. And yes, I was nervous of arriving, but I wasn't going to show anybody that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to be cool, but I was intimidated. And the chopper
Yeah.
landed, and I stepped off, and I was met by the team sergeant, um, Master Sergeant Nat Frey, and who many years later became a good personal friend of mine and visited
Mhm.
with him many, many times here in the States before he
Mhm.
passed away. But at the time, I didn't know him. Of course, he was briefed on me. He knew more about me than I did, probably.
Yeah.
But he he greeted me warmly, welcomed me to the team, and just suddenly the intimidation I felt just kind of melted.
Mhm.
He was not catering to me or anything. He was just doing his job, but he was doing it nicely, in a
He's being
professional way.
professional.
Professional.
Yeah.
And he escorted me into the camp and showed me around and got me settled in. And so that fear I had of initially arriving dissipated quickly.
Hmm.
And of course, our team was different than most A teams
Yeah.
because of a secret intelligence operation that the team was hosting called Project Gamma, which was running spies over into Cambodia. And, we weren't supposed to be in there for political
Mhm.
considerations and commitments that the United States had made. But
Heaven
Lord,
forbid. Yeah.
say again?
Isn't it kind of funny how we get into these agreement political stuff, and then there's reality and there's what's going on. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the rhetoric the way
Yeah.
they wanted it, but the reality was, that we were in Cambodia, and not just in Cambodia. I mean, we had troops, in Laos and
Yeah.
other
Everywhere.
places, but yeah, everywhere. But this particular top secret operation was called Project Gamma, and we hosted the team, which consisted of 3 American soldiers. Robert Marasco was the commanding officer of those men. And they didn't tell us what to do. You know, they had their own work to do, but they lived in our camp.
Yeah.
And they ran their spies from out of our camp.
Yeah.
We did our normal job. In addition to that, we supported them on an as needed basis.
They needed a hand. It's like, hey man, talk to the ODA.
That's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was drawn into that operation more than I think any other team member was because of the communications.
They got comm support. Yeah.
They had well, of course, Marasco, and they all had alias names, by the way. We didn't know their real names at the time, but Bob was the CO, and then there was Norman, whose alias was Mike, Sergeant Mike, and then the radio operator, whose alias was Scotty Jenkins, and his real name is Sidney Jensen.
Yeah,
but he was the radio operator. And sometimes he would be off site for one reason or another, and they would call me in, you know, to
do his job,
get those messages sent out to Saigon, CIA, and wherever they wanted them to go. So I got pulled into it that way, and that made our team different from other A teams. I think there were a total of 9 A teams who Project Gamma worked out of. And there was, I don't know, 90 to 110 A camps. The numbers vary from different people. But so, you know, it was a limited a number of camps that actually hosted it. The Green Beret affair, if you're familiar with that, has to do with a double agent being identified and executed, and soldiers, including the commander of Special Forces, Robert Rowe, being charged with murder for killing a double agent. Well, that double agent, I ran ambush patrols with. You know,
he was an interpreter, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
Damn. He was. And he spoke better English than I did. You know. I'm 19 years old. I was a high school dropout. I did get my GED in Germany, though, by going to school. But I mean, you know, even today, my English is not all that great.
Did you all have any clue that he was maybe a double agent, or was he good as a good double agent? You know.
Okay, from my perspective, you know, when they sent him out to the FOB to run patrols with me, I assume that he's cleared. I assume that everything is okay. I don't question anything like that. I mean, it's not my job to clear these guys, you know, but they send him out there. And there were a few things that I noticed, you know, but it wasn't anything that you know, really get upset
put your finger on.
Well, I did notice that he didn't like to go on patrols. You know,
it's not unusual. I mean, not everybody likes to be shot at or shoot people. You know.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's not anything to get upset about. I mean, no. He did play sick a couple of times. I'm convinced he wasn't really sick.
Yeah.
But according to later reports and conversations with Marasco, Marasco was suspicious of some things. He couldn't quite get all the information he needed on him. They were trying to, his handler, Sergeant Smith, who was a former CIA operative, was trying to get him registered, you know, as an agent for Project Gamma.
Yeah.
But it was supposedly to go through Marasco, and he couldn't get all the information clear on him, and he wasn't happy with some of the reports Chuen was giving them. So he had a few suspicions in the beginning. And but he was eventually assigned accepted as an agent for
Yeah.
Project Gallon.
Recruited as an agent.
He was recruited, that's right. And that
Yeah.
was against Morasco's better judgment, but
Mhm.
Sergeant Sands managed to get that done. And then there was an ambush patrol that Chewin and I were on, and
Yeah.
it was a small team of ours, 12 of us all together. And we encountered the Viet Cong coming across from the border.
Mhm.
And I had a night scope. I saw him coming. I told him to open fire, and he wouldn't do it. He said they'll wait for you. Now
Yeah.
it's not abnormal for a squad leader like I was to open fire anyway.
Yeah.
But the point is, I told him to tell them to do it.
Yeah.
It's his job,
Yeah.
to repeat that, and he wouldn't do it. So I opened fire, and we didn't take any return fire at all. And I'm peering through the night scope again, and they're retreating back towards Cambodia. And so I reached for the handset of the PRC 25 radio, which is backpacked by an indigenous troop. And I can't get anything on the radio. It's just dead air. Now, it had been working previously when we set up position, and I had, radioed back in with our position.
You've
The
been doing
coordinates.
commo checks with higher.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but now
Yeah.
all of a sudden, here we are in the middle of a contact, and
Gunfight.
there's no radio.
Yeah.
I don't have time to look at the radio. I mean, these guys are escaping. They are the parties we know or suspect that they have been the ones coming through in our area and bombing Makwa and other places. So in my mind, we can't let these guys go.
Yeah.
We've got to get them. And so I ordered a pursuit, and we took off, after them. Chuen, the Terp, he had no choice whether he wanted to or not. I mean, he had to
Yeah.
go with us. He had to roll with us on that. But as we approached the tree line at the border, I wasn't about to go in there. So, I had the men line
So
up.
you were not going to cross into Cambodia.
Well, it wasn't the Cambodia thing; it was the tree line thing, pretty much.
Oh, okay, okay,
And it's dark, and
Yeah.
it was just not a good thing to be doing, and I
Yeah.
didn't think so anyway. But we lined up and started approaching it, just firing our weapons into it. And Chewin is on my left, and I notice he's not even firing his weapon; he's fiddling with it like it's jammed or something.
Yeah.
He should have been able to take care of it, but he didn't. But we still didn't take any return fire. And so I halted the troops. I didn't want to go in. And then when I did that, that's when the explosions started. The VC opened up on us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were outnumbered. They were dropping mortars and, and everything. So we didn't have anything to do but escape and evade. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we ran like crazy and set up another perimeter just at a distance I thought, would give us some advantage anyway. And the story is that there was another American on duty at the FOB, Specialist Mason. And from his position, he could see that a firefight was taking place. And he was trying to contact me by phone, but he couldn't raise me. So he contacted the A camp, the base camp, and there the camp commander who had just really recently arrived, Al Kittredge, who today is a great friend.
I've heard they named that Special Forces Association after him in Iowa.
I think there was a part of his book in a Special Forces magazine or something. Yeah. Al Kittredge.
I've got friends who are members of that chapter.
Well, he I don't know, he'd been on the team a couple of weeks there, I guess.
Yeah.
But he figured, hey, I've got to do something, I mean, is McIntosh dead? Is he wounded? Are they being overrun?
Yeah.
So he authorized Mesa to launch mortars into the last known coordinates, trusting that if I was alive, that I would have sense, to be covered and everything.
Yeah.
And he made a great call. It was a hard call for him, I'm
Yeah.
sure, but he made a great call, and Mesa did that and wiped them out. And we, returned back to the FOB the next day, where we discovered that the channel on the radio had been switched to
Really?
an
Yeah.
unused frequency. And that would have been so easy for Chu Wen to have switched.
Mhm.
And, as I'm engaging the enemy and
Yeah,
he's not
you're
firing,
occupied with what's going on in front.
it's
It
dark.
just,
All he had to do was reach up behind the guy with the radio, which is in front of him. All he had to do was just switch that channel. And
and the
so,
RTO wouldn't have even noticed it because he's focused on the fight and the
absolutely.
radio.
Absolutely. Now, that's circumstantial evidence. There have
Yeah.
been, I've read some Vietnamese accounts that are attributed Chu En's assassination to the ambush, but that's
Um,
not true.
yeah.
There's a photograph later appeared that showed him in the company of Viet Cong and North Vietnamese officers.
Oh, wow.
And that was the nail in the coffin for him.
Yeah.
So the ambush was only circumstantial evidence that raised suspicions.
Yeah. It was building. The case was building.
It was
Yeah.
building. There wasn't anything much to be done with that, but Moresco soon afterwards had Chu En removed from the team.
Mhm.
And his handler as well from Project Gamma.
Oh.
I was present when he talked to Colonel Rove and Trang about it, and he just felt like that they were untrustworthy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so his request was honored, and Chu En was relieved of duty, and he disappeared back into Saigon.
Yeah. And
And then when that photograph appeared, they went and found him and brought him back to Makwa under pretense of him wanting him to go out on another assignment.
yeah.
It's a deeply involved story. He was
Yeah.
eventually
There,
assassinated. If anybody's interested, just research the Green Beret affair and you'll find it all.
yeah, there's a lot of books. There's several books on that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, let
yeah.
me ask you a question. Were most of your contacts, was it mainly Viet Cong or was it NVA or a mix that you were
Uh,
running into?
they were mostly Viet Cong.
Mm,
This ambush I'm just telling you about.
yeah.
The next day, uh, who he was then a captain, Captain Kittredge,
Mm,
carried a recon team out to that area,
mhm.
and recovered bodies.
Yeah.
And one of them was a local who lived in the village. So, they were mostly VC that we encountered. There
Yeah.
was, towards the end of my tour there was an element of about 500 NVA who tried to come through. They met a lot of resistance from overhead firepower and they pulled back into Cambodia, but it was mostly Viet Cong.
Yeah. Did now on your camp out, you had your Vietnamese strikers. About how many did you have? Because 500, that's a lot of NVA.
Yeah, it was. Well, there were 50 of us on patrol, and we thought that they were coming through as a designated time, and
Mhm.
there was 50 of us setting up ambush,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking 50, 500, that's about what, 10 to 1.
Yeah, it's supposed to.
And,
Yeah, that's not good odds. Not good odds at all.
we're in a rice paddy,
Yeah.
and I'm laying there and posed and waiting, and I hear something rustling, this weird noise, and I turn around and look, and my right leg was trembling in the water. It was
Yeah.
shaking the water. I didn't feel scared, but my body somehow was reacting to this
Mhm.
oncoming firefight, but they didn't show up, and I was thankful for that, really. But before I left, I wasn't there in the field with them. I was back at the A camp, but they did try to come through. And it was the air power spooky and all the power from the air that turned them around.
You know, you bring up a good point. Your legs laying there in water. I don't think people realize how wet operating in the Mekong Delta
Oh,
was. You guys were
gosh,
wet all the
yeah.
time.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, we waded water up, up to our necks and over our heads sometimes. I mean, I'm surprised how some of those smaller guys even, got
Yeah,
across some of the canals and things like I'm tiptoeing.
yeah. Imagine was I guess probably there were probably a lot of leeches and mosquitoes and just a
Yeah,
challenging environment to work in.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, what was your impressions of the Vietnamese the strikers that you were working with and training? I
Yeah.
mean, were they of good people? Were they primarily Vietnamese descent, or I mean, well, just tell us a
Yeah,
little bit about the little people, kind
yeah,
of.
well, there was a combination of things. There were Chinese nuns,
Yeah.
at the B team. Now, out at the A team, as far as I know, actually, as far as I know, all of them were just Vietnamese descent, and I had mixed experiences with them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the ambush I just told you about with Chuan, I was so
Yeah.
proud of those guys. I mean, they acted professional. They did the job and didn't have to
Yeah.
be told exactly everything to do, So I was very proud of them. There was another incident where they got up and ran.
Yeah.
Wasn't the same troops. You understand what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
A different set of troops. So it would depend on who you were working with. So it was mixed experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, was there a Vietnamese Special Forces team there, or was it just you,
Yeah.
the LLDB?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and they were
Uh,
always. Of course, I was not there, but I always heard that was a very mixed bag too.
yeah.
Of yeah.
And,
What
and
was the population around there like? Were they pretty pro-American, or were they just neutral, or was it just kind of depending which village you went to? In Afghanistan, it was kind of like whichever village we went to, it was yeah, rolling the dice.
yeah, well, that's what you're doing, rolling the dice, and
Yeah,
your enemy can, your friend today can be your enemy tonight.
yeah.
And that happened often. Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, and it's my own personal persuasion, that of course, in a life and death situation, people are going to respond to the power that is at the moment. You know, you're their friend.
Yeah,
You leave, the VC comes in,
they're VC friends.
they're VC friends, so the sympathizers. So, but really all they're trying to do is to survive, take care of their children,
Yeah,
and live a decent life. That's all they were doing. Now, you're active, you know, communist people. Well, that's a
yeah,
different story. Yeah.
yeah. Different story. Um, was there any I mean, you've mentioned a bunch of people like Captain Kettridge and the team sergeant. Was there any other people that kind of really stood out in your mind that you really had a lot of respect for, and yeah, just uh, people that you admired while on that
Yeah.
trip?
Well, that would be just about everybody on the
Yeah,
team. But in particular, there's Sergeant First Class Eddie Hamby.
mm,
Um, and we called him Hamby,
yeah,
but um, he came to the team, I don't know, about the same time Kittredge did, or maybe a
yeah,
couple of weeks later. And he was in Intel, Team
mm,
Intel, not Project
mhm,
Game. And he was like, oh, 34 years old, I think.
yeah,
And he had kind of a fatherly approach with me.
hmm,
Uh, he advised me. Um, I guess you could say he took me under his wing.
yeah.
He looked over me a little bit, and he didn't treat me special or different because of my age. It was just, his
Mentoring.
approach. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's the word. He was a mentor. He really was, and I learned a lot from him in the field. We ran patrols together, and where one particular incident. I mean, we were at the border, and this is to show you the difference between youthful foolishness and and wisdom. Um, the Viet Cong was trying to set a trap for us. across the border. We counted 17 of them standing up, one at a time in a staggered position across the border.
They're trying to lure you in. Yeah.
And all they were, of course, they knew, they were trying to bait us and to get us to go over into Cambodia. And of course, in my youthful vigor, I'm like,
Yeah.
let's go get them. The heck with Cambodia. These guys, they got to go. Well, Hamby, he rebuked me.
Yeah.
And he said, we're going to withdraw and take up a safe area. And we started withdrawing and the team. And I was mad about it. I started fussing at him. He's an E7, I hadn't been promoted sergeant yet. I was still E4 here. Yeah. And I started fussing at him bad, and he finally just turned around and looked at me and said, soldier, shut up.
I got a death on my mind right now without your bitching.
I did. I shut up. And we set up camp, away from the border, the safe area that evening. And then he talked to me about it. And he explained the wisdom of what they were doing, and how do you know, Mac, that they're not, while we're trying to engage here, that they're not also coming up from behind us there and we'd be trapped between them, He said our safest thing to do was to, pull back. And it made a lot of sense. And I humbled my pride and apologized for my outburst. And but to tell you what kind of guy he is, the next morning, same incident, okay? He's in charge of the patrol, but he gives me permission to take 2 men with me to go recon the area to see maybe what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I take 2 guys with me and we go back up to the borderline and over into Cambodia. And we discover a village there. And we're wondering, is this Viet Cong or is this, a peaceful village? I'd never seen or heard of it before. And so anyway, we observed it for a little bit, but we didn't see any military action anywhere. But we fired a few rounds off just to try to probe, the area and see what might happen. No return fire or anything like that. And of course, we're illegal doing this. I didn't initiate it. The Vietnamese with me started it. But
I'm just responsible for it.
That was it. I could have stopped it, I guess. But anyway, I mean, it wasn't fired into the village. It was just fired to probe.
Yeah, kind of a recon by fire kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, to see if we get any response anywhere because we were trying to figure out, is this a dangerous element here or what? But we went back and rejoined the camp, and I told Hamby about what happened, and he said, Mac, he said, you can't do that. He said, now, if anything ever comes of this, if anybody ever says anything about it, you keep your mouth shut, and I'll handle it.
Yeah.
So, he's going to cover for me, in my youth eagerness, he's going to cover for my mistakes.
Yeah. Well, let the old man who knows what we're doing here go on. Hey, let me do the talking.
Yeah. And I learned a lot from him. I really did. Yeah. So I appreciate him. And he passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I've been in contact with his family.
Yeah. Man, that sounded like quite an experience for an 18-year-old young man.
Yeah. It was growing up in a hurry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you were in Vietnam for 12 months, and how much time did you spend on that on the A team?
6 months.
6 months. Okay.
6 months. Yeah.
And that was look at your
414.
414. Okay.
That's right. In Ton Tree.
Okay. Well, I mean, so as the time progresses, your confidence is building up, and you're feeling better. And kind of how did the last part of that tour go? Was you were just kind of ready to go home, or how did that all kind of play out? Because you're getting ready to move to the next chapter. and which is
Yeah.
place going back to Fort Benning.
Yeah. Well, just close to my rotation, there was another incident that involved Captain Kittredge and myself, which was combat. And then I went to the FOB, the Forward Observation Base, and I came back to the team and learned that the Project Gamma team, Marasco, Scotty, and Mike, had been pulled from the team. Now,
Oh, yeah,
actually,
that's right,
they
because all that's spinning up right then. Yeah, that big controversy.
Yes, and I didn't know they had been arrested. None of
Yeah.
us did really. We just know, hey, they fly in, they get them, they fly out,
Yeah.
And uh, the team was attacked. Since the double agent that had been with us, contact had slowed down, hadn't had a lot of action lately. But now that the double agent was missing, the VC was picking up their activities. And we were attacked on July the 18th. Captain Kittredge left the team on the 14th. On the 18th, we got hit. And
they were attacking your camp.
Yes, the base camp, the 18th.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. With a mortar barrage. Okay. Of course, when that happens, you have to prepare for, an onslaught of troops. So, that's what we do. We run to our positions and take them up. And I was running out to my position and tripped on something and fell down and cut my leg. Bounded back up and we stood out there for a little while. And obviously they weren't coming. So what they had been doing was just, working the mortars in.
Yeah.
The first one flew over the team house.
Bracketing
Yeah, they were bringing them in this way. And so that was on the 18th of July. And I left on the 21st. I left the A team on the 21st to start processing out.
Yeah.
And they hit again.
Okay. They got hit again. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I know what you're going to ask me. Did I go back to Magua? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hamby boated me. This is crazy. Hamby and I boated from Tontry at the border back into Magua down those canals, just the two of us by ourselves.
You on a boat?
Yeah.
Were they airboats or were they?
No, this was just a motorboat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it belonged to one of our civilian helpers. Yeah, but it was crazy when I think about it now. But anyway,
let me get this straight.
Yeah,
2 American soldiers.
Yeah,
on a boat.
Yeah,
by themselves. Going to the canals.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we did.
Was there even any your strike force with you, or just
no? It was just Helmy and I just boating on down the canal there all the way back to Magua. We had a chance to talk about a lot of stuff, though.
Terry, you guys had some balls. I mean,
well, we might have done things then that maybe wouldn't be approved of today. I don't know.
I guarantee it would be approved. I mean, but I'm like,
well, you do what you got to do to get it done, right?
Yeah, did you at least have a radio? Or?
No, we didn't have a radio or anything. It was just 2 of us. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. God.
Yeah. And but it was uneventful. But we, like I said, we got to talk a lot.
That's
I'll drink it with you.
Okay.
But I did get a chance to talk to him quite a bit on the trip, and he knew more, I think, about what was going on with Project Gamma and Marasco and the team than I did. And he advised me. He said, "Now, they're going to question you about some things." And what I liked about Hamby, he would give you an order without making it sound like an order. And I appreciated that.
That's a very good leadership style right there.
excellent because it makes you want to do it, you know.
That's the
And
guy. You don't follow his orders out of fear. You follow because you don't want to disappoint him.
that's right, right, because you respect him, and he had earned my respect for sure. But he advised me to deny knowledge about anything at all. I knew that anyway. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, but he's making sure I knew that.
Yeah.
And I agreed to all of that. And sure enough, when I got to Mach 1 and out processing there, uh, the team is hit again.
Uh-huh.
And several people were killed when that came in.
That's got to
Um,
be tough.
yeah, people I knew, and uh, the the new camp commander that had replaced Captain Kittredge was also killed,
Yeah.
uh, and along with the B team commander who had flown out in a helicopter, picked up Captain Genesio and the local Vietnamese captain, Dim, and they were in a chopper.
Yeah.
And I was told initially there's different accounts about what actually happened, but Hamby had written me a letter later and told me that, you know, they had flown out, you know, in search of the enemy's location after the attack. And the chopper went down and killed all of them, you know,
Mm.
in the entire crew. Yeah. But I heard about that as I'm out processing. So
Yeah.
it was a sad moment. Yeah.
Damn. Well, so you're heading back to you're out crossing Vietnam, you're dealing with this, and you just lost some friends. I mean, that's got to be tough. And damn. Uh, so the next chapter is you're going to Fort Benning, being a Ranger company, but that's got to seem a little bit anticlimactic after all you've been through.
Well, yeah, what happened was initially, uh, before the attack on the 24th, when I had reached Mokwa for out processing before moving to Nha Trang, I had met with Colonel Beck, who was the B team commander at the time,
Mhm.
and he wanted me to extend my time,
Yeah.
you know, and basically I had a choice, you know, to stay in infantry or any other service that I wanted. But I've already gone through, well, you can't call it interrogation, you call it interviews, right? And I'm presented with the option of signing an affidavit, you know, testifying that I don't know anything about any secret operations or anything like that going on, which, you know, I willingly signed. If I hadn't have signed it, they would have kept me in Vietnam as a potential
Yeah, as a
witness
witness.
against Marasco and the Project Gamma team, and I wouldn't have ever done that.
So you had to get the
So
hell out of there. Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to go. I was tired. You know, I was really really tired of the fighting. I was really weary by then,
Yeah.
and so I was ready to go home. And
Hmm.
I didn't. I thanked him for asking me, and he pinned the commendation medal on me. He was dead the next day or two. But so if any commitments he'd made to me, he probably wouldn't have been honored anyway.
No, they
You know,
wouldn't have. You would have
probably
you would
not.
have wound up going to what was that LBJ or Long Bend Jail or
Wherever somebody else wanted me, yeah. Um,
yeah. Yeah.
but
You made the right call.
I think I did. I think I did. And
Uh,
so I opted to return back to stateside, and
mhm.
that was with my old unit from Germany, the Forerunner of Company A, 75th Rangers.
Yeah.
So I knew a lot of guys there anyway,
Yeah.
and that was my next assignment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So well, okay, kind
and
of makes sense.
it was uneventful for me. I mean, you know, it was in Georgia at the time, and then you know
Mhm.
we rotated out to Fort Hood for a while,
Yeah.
and I was in the commo platoon. You know, I taught Morse code to you know classes and things like
Yeah, you're
that.
the subject matter expert now.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, I did notice that
Yeah.
people left me alone. I mean, officers and everybody, they just seemed to, you know, seemed like I could do almost anything I wanted to do or not do, and I
Well,
appreciate that.
let Sergeant McIntosh do what Sergeant McIntosh needs to do.
Yeah, it kind of seemed that way to me, and but it was uneventful, and then the 75th was involved in a top secret uh, program for Vietnam testing electronics and sensors. And to participate in that, you couldn't be in the program and then get out of it. You had to go all the way through it. And I had an option of extending my time in the Army or Project Master was the name of the deal. And I opted out of Project Master because I didn't want to extend my time in the Army. I was finished mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
So they assigned me just as a vehicle of separation. They assigned me to the 16th Engineer Battalion for 2 months, and I ETS'd down there.
That was just basically to keep accountability of you. That was it.
It was a vehicle to discharge. I wasn't an engineer. It was just a vehicle to discharge.
Yeah. You are somebody on some first sergeant's list. He goes, okay, I know this guy he's alive and he's out processing. That's
kind of like that.
In a nutshell, yeah. So, I mean, after you got out, what did you do after you got out? Tell us about that. You know, I mean, you obviously lived a full, happy life. So, I mean,
well, it didn't start out that way. I had married, living in Georgia. No, I'm sorry, Fort Hood. After we had moved to Fort Hood, I had married a girl from my hometown. Which we had been dating, and I had been driving back and forth,
I'm sure she loved Colleen. Yeah.
Well, I think, and we're friends today, but I think she's got good memories of Colleen.
Yeah. No, I don't think very many people have good memories of Colleen, Colleen, Texas. I've been there.
Well, that's, we were both young, so. She was 18 and graduating actually out of Colleen High School. So she's got those kinds of memories there. Yeah. But our marriage didn't last. We were just two young people who didn't really know what we wanted out of life. And when we came back home and it just didn't work for us anymore. So we ended up in a divorce. And from there, I didn't really have an ambition. I had come to believe that everything was in vain, that you're making these plans for tomorrow and you're going to die in the morning or tonight, And that's how I felt about everything. And so I didn't apply myself to prepare for the future like maybe I should have. I was just living day by day.
The U.S. Army is great. We're great at sending guys off to war, but we're not very good at bringing them back. And that's a fact.
It's been said before. I know there's a lot of cases, and I'm not going to blame the Army for it. I mean, I know it's true, but no one offered to counsel me or offered me advice in any way. It was just up to me. And by now I'm 20. Well, 21 now by the time I got out of the Army.
You can buy a beer.
Yeah, I could buy a beer now. Yeah,
I can run everything. You can run a platoon ambush, but you can't buy a beer.
That was so much. Yeah, really.
Yeah. So,
well, from that point, I did eventually go into business. I decided that, hey, if I got to play the game, I'll play the game. It's got to be done. I got to live. So, okay, I'll do it. I wasn't wholehearted about it, but I knew that I had to do it. And so, like everybody else, I tried to be a good citizen. And actually, sparing details, I lost the business.
It happens.
And it took me, I had an investor, which was very close and personal to me. And
Mhm.
it took me many years to repay that, but I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I did get the investor repaid eventually. But at the time, it was very hard for me emotionally. And having lost the business and divorced, I mean, I had friends,
Yeah.
and I was active socially, and I was all the time smiling, but inwardly, I wasn't such a happy guy. But I didn't
Yeah.
burden anyone with it. I didn't think that they would care. I didn't think they would even understand it. So I just lived with it. And I think that's pretty common with veterans.
I think it's very common. I know lots of people do. I think I've done it as well. It just, I mean, we're men and we just
Yes.
compartmentalize like, okay, that block goes in there, that block goes there, and
Mhm.
maybe one of these days I'll take it out and look at it. Maybe.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what we do. Yeah.
Mm.
And, but I ended up actually, um, I probably shouldn't even tell you this, but I actually ended up being part of a small gang for a little while, a street
Really?
gang. And by default, the leader of it, it was nothing I sought or wanted to do, but they looked to
Yeah.
me. And so when you're around dangerous people, the best thing to do is take control of it, I thought.
Be in
So,
charge of the dangerous people. Uh,
anyway, I played the role and until it started getting too hot and too thick, and I just
yeah.
disappeared one evening. Yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually ended up committing my life to the Lord Jesus Christ, which I
Yeah.
am a devout Christian. And that was the beginning of a change all the way around. I met my present wife, Susan,
Uh-huh.
and say again.
Well, it's kind of like Paul. He had to go through some rough stuff too.
I think we all do. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and my story is I don't. Well, there's some unique things about it, but really not so unusual either.
Well,
It's just different expressions, but it's the same spirit behind it all.
well,
And
the thing is, my generation, we really looked. People don't realize how much the guy that joined the army in the 80s and 90s, we really looked up to the Vietnam veteran generation. We really, really did. And
well,
yeah,
well,
you
we
got
salute you.
well, you guys kind of showed us what we thought it was supposed to be, and we admire it. I'll tell you what, can we talk a little bit about your books?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because I mean, I've got my copy right
Okay,
here.
this one, yeah, that's it. The youngest Green Beret. Now, let me clarify that. I am the youngest documented Green Beret who served on an A team and earned the CIB in
Which
Special Forces operations.
I look,
Yes.
the rigs are right beside me. I mean, that's absolutely 100% the way it is.
Okay. There are lots of other guys who served with Special Forces at age 18 and 19. Um, I don't know all of their status or anything like that, but the claim to be the youngest is specifically related to service on an A team
Mhm.
and earning the CIB. And if that claim is ever disproved, then I'll change my story on that. I'll say I'm the second, but for right now, I'll be the first.
Okay,
But
so
the book was written.
I
The
think you
book
will
was
probably
written
go down in history as the youngest.
well as it is right now. Yes, because the new standards, qualifications for special forces, it's not possible to be
No, it's
18
not.
years old and serve on an A team. It's just not
No.
possible. So it's very likely that my claim will stand throughout the ages.
It'll stand the test of time. I mean,
But Ward,
The 18 X-ray or SF baby timeline, even if they join at 17, they're not, and they pass everything. That's it's going to be a while. Yeah,
they
it's
can
going to
they can
stand.
they can sign a commitment to try out for Special Forces.
Yeah.
That doesn't make them
No.
Special Forces qualified.
No, it does not. It just gets them in the pipeline.
It just gets them in, and by the time they go through the course, they're going to be 20 years old.
Yeah.
Which is actually it used to be the very minimum age was 20. In 68, it was 20, but they lowered it to 18 because they needed to fill positions. And for those listening, I am a recognized Special Forces qualified soldier under fire.
You
Special
are
Force.
You're a long tab.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
And they just recently publicly, acknowledged that by issuing the retroactive tab.
Mm-hmm.
The Special Forces tab didn't exist back in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
It was created in 1983.
Mm-hmm.
So before that, the recognition was with a full flash beret,
Yeah.
which I had been issued.
Yeah.
But there was no, you can go back and look at anybody's picture from that era, and they didn't have a tab. So when they issued the tab in 83, they automatically retro awarded that tab to Special Forces qualified personnel.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of us were overlooked.
Yeah.
I was one of those overlooked. When I first learned about the existence of it, it didn't mean anything to me really. It wasn't important to me until just recently, and that being for personal reasons. But I inquired about it, and they reviewed my records and retro awarded me the Special Forces tab. So, I'm official Special Forces history now at 18.
Well, I tell you what, it is a mark of distinction. It is, and you earned it, no doubt.
Well, thank you for that, and I'm thankful that they recognized that, and it's kind of fun being recognized as an 18-year-old Special Forces operative. But that's cool.
Yeah, very cool.
That $10 will get me and you a cup of coffee, but
well,
it's a footnote in history.
The way you're in very good company, because I know I've met a few guys who were LRPs, and then they did the same thing, similar. That's similar, and very good. You're in very good company, so absolutely. Yeah. But tell us about your next book coming out. You've got another book coming out.
I do. Now, this is what it's going to look like. Can you see?
Mine,
I can't see myself.
Not for sale.
Can you see that? Yeah. This is a not for sale thing here, so that won't be on the book. Can you see it okay in there?
I can see. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Okay, that's what it's going to look like when it's published very soon. You'll be able to find it on Amazon. I'll let you know when it's ready.
Well, I'll tell you. Well, when you get to my neck of the woods, just bring me a copy and sign it, and I'll buy you beer all night.
Well, I'm going to be in your neck of the woods, around the 4th there, and we'll try to get with you.
Absolutely.
But I won't have a book by then, I don't think.
Oh, okay. Well,
but eventually,
we'll sign this one. That'll work just as well.
I was going to tell you about that book, the Youngest Green Beret. It was written really for family and friends who had questions, and I thought, well, I'll just write a book about it, and
that's a good idea.
Take care of it. And I think that every veteran should. If we don't tell our stories, they die with us.
I agree. That's kind of how I kind of got into doing these videos and our podcast, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, and I've seen some, and yeah, what you're doing is important. It really is.
Story needs to, there's a lot of great men in history who are unknown, and their story didn't get told. So I'm just trying to tell the story.
Yeah, and it's important. It's important for family, for the veteran himself. It's good to talk and write about the things, and history. I mean, it is history, so it is important. Yeah, should be preserved.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I guess we'll kind of wrap this up, man. But again, I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank you for your story and appreciate your time. And I look forward to meeting you in person. And for everyone else out there, hey man, God bless each and every one of you. God bless our guys and gals in uniform, and God bless the USA.
Amen. And thank you,
Amen.
Jerry.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
All right.